Autoline Live from the North American International Auto Show is brought to you by our signature sponsors, Chrysler, Dodge, Fiat, Jeep, Mopar, Ram, and SRT. And also by Audi, Truth in Engineering, and IAC Group. Inspiration comes from within.
Welcome to the 2014 North American International Auto Show with Autoline Live, bringing you what's going on here at Cobo Center in Detroit. And wow, have we got a great show. And this is just day one. Listen to what we've got coming up here. Al Gardner, the brand new CEO of the Chrysler brand. Ludwig Willisch, the CEO of BMW North America. Tim Mahoney, the head of Global Chevrolet, and a whole lot more. Like I said, we're just getting going here, and we'll get back to all of that right after this message.
When you came into this world, you tumbled in head first. All arms and legs, looking everywhere, moving everywhere. You went where your eyes and ears took you. And little by little, you became you. You found tools to satisfy your curiosity because you wanted to see more and do more. And there was something to be found in everything. And little by little it changed. People told you things, where to go, what to do, what not to do. Little by little the world started to feel smaller. Only it isn't. You're still here, and you're still you. The horizons haven't gone anywhere, and the tools you need are right here. So you can throw yourself at the world head first. Again, introducing the all-new Jeep Cherokee.
Joining me right now is Al Gardner, the CEO of the Chrysler brand. And Al, great having you here on our live coverage of the Detroit Auto Show.
Glad to be here, John. Glad to be here.
You must be thrilled. I mean, here you get promoted to CEO of the Dodge brand. Here's your first auto show as it, and you got the Chrysler 200, your brand new model. Tell us a little bit about this car.
Well, I will tell you, I'm absolutely the luckiest guy in town. 90 days on the job, and my job this morning is effectively to represent all those hardworking people who put 3.5 years worth of business into building the spectacular car we have behind me. So let me tell you a little bit about the car. It is a spectacular design, but more importantly, it's really about what's underneath the car. $1 billion invested in the plant over at Sterling Heights. That was a plant 5 years ago. We were unfortunately going to close.
I remember that.
Ugly stuff, right? And we launched the new 200 with M&M, and we start gaining share and building a good product. And this is really the next evolution of that product, which is a beautiful, sophisticated, elegant car, and what Chrysler used to be known for, which is you get inside that car and it's that wow factor.
The old car sold very well, but it was an old car. You must be really happy to have something brand new from the ground up, from scratch.
I'm thrilled. I mean, and so's the team. They've worked so hard to build this kind of product. And when we look at it from ground up, we look at it from a platform that came over from the Fiat world. It's an Alfa Romeo Giulietta. And we've designed this thing with more technology, more safety, more security features than any other car in its field. And then the best news is you put a 9-speed standard transmission into this thing that no one else has in the entire segment. You made it to a 4-cylinder engine. You get 35 miles per gallon. And an all-wheel drive system that gives you the performance that effectively turns this car into a rear-wheel drive car for those people who want to drive a really fun sports car.
Now, correct me, but is there any car in this class other than this one with all-wheel drive available?
So Ford has all-wheel drive.
Okay, they do. They do. Right.
But what they don't do, and you're absolutely right, is they don't fully disconnect that all-wheel drive system. So they run that all-wheel drive all the time, and that lowers, naturally, your fuel economy. We're able to put an automatic system in there that disconnects the system from the front and the rear, and obviously that improves your fuel economy, and we do it all automatically, so the customer doesn't know the difference, but they're effectively able to drive it like an all-wheel drive, or almost like a rear-wheel drive car, or a front-wheel drive car. Great fuel economy with an all-wheel drive system. So yes, you're right, by the way. No one does it quite like we do.
Now, the Chrysler brand, as I recall, only has 3 models, right? The 200, the 300, the Town and Country.
That's right.
You're the head of the brand now. Where would you like to see it go?
Well, I think this is really just the beginning. And the boss didn't bring me in here to sit and say, okay, we got 3 cars for the rest of our lives. Obviously, our goal over the next couple of years is to replace the brand, replace the vehicles we have today. And so we're working on the new 300. We're working on the new Town & Country. And then really it is, where does Chrysler fit into the rest of the world? And we recognize that to be relevant in the marketplace today, you really need more than just the 3 products you have today. So that's the exciting part of what I get to do. And of course, I do Chrysler, and that's all I do. And so I'm a little biased. But we recognize there are opportunities for the brand that we haven't taken advantage of over the last 5 years that we definitely need to expand into.
The crossover segment, maybe the hottest segment in the business right now. You've got to be looking at something like that.
We're absolutely looking at something like that. Now, can we talk about it? No. Our competition would be thrilled if we talked about it, but the reality is, yes, of course we're looking at that, and we need to expand the brand. We need to make it more relevant, and that's everything I got to do over the next, call it 12 months, effectively, to get this thing turning over.
I love the face of the new 200. Is this a family resemblance that we're going to see as these other new models come out?
Well, not too surprising. We tested this like mad, and that front face is stunning to start with, and I appreciate you saying that. Thank you. That means we're doing it right. And yes, you're absolutely going to see that face, that facade, that whole look on the front end with the badge that effectively seems like it's floating there in the middle of the grille, and you're going to see that on a lot of products coming up.
Now, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about this, because my producer, Chip Drake, said I had to ask you about this. You've molded the Detroit City line into the floor mats on this car. Talk a little bit behind the thinking on that, and is that going to spread?
See, I think that's all about what this car company is all about. We're based here in Detroit, in Michigan, and that's the core of everything we do, and this is where we live. So we don't want to move away from that. Yes, we want to be an all-American brand that has built spectacular products for the American public. But the reality is, this is where we live, and this is what we do, and this is what we breathe. And so to put that kind of level of craftsmanship into it that has a beautiful look of as you said, the Detroit City line, we're going to surprise some people with how much detail we're prepared to put in and what level of craftsmanship. But it's where we're from. That's the heart of what we do. Even a Brit like me, by the way. Yeah. I've lived here for long enough to know that this is a great place to live, and we love it here.
Who came up with the idea from that? Was that out of marketing? Was that out of design? Do you even know where this idea came from?
That's when you really push your design team. And you say, look, we're going to beat everything. We're going to take the whole thing apart, and we're going to start again. And the design team says, well, what about this? And the marketing team, the brand team goes, yeah, I love it. But that's when you're willing to invest and spend the money to get to that level of detail where you're playing on the inside console liners. But yeah, that's where it came from. Design guys, they are that good.
We're down to the end, but I got to ask one more question. When will people see the new Chrysler 200 in the showrooms?
Great question. So we're looking at second quarter.
Right around the corner. Almost.
Right around the corner. So by the end of the second quarter, we'll have volume numbers in our showrooms, and looking forward to selling them. In the meantime, we've got a very good 200 there that will sell nicely, so we should be in good shape. But yeah, end of the second quarter, and we're ready to go.
Al Gardner, thanks so much for stopping by. Very interesting to hear what you're going to be doing with the Chrysler brand.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Hey, we're going to go to our next interview right now. Some of these we record live, some we have to pre-record because you get these executives when they're available. Earlier today, I caught up with Ludwig Willisch, the CEO of BMW North America, and let's go hear what he had to say about the 2014 North American International Auto Show. Ludwig, you had quite the sales battle in 2013, especially between BMW and Mercedes. And it looks like they eked you out a little bit at the end, but you had a good year.
We actually had the best year ever, and there's always competition. I mean, no matter where you look, there's competition, especially in this country. But we, as I said, did great. We sold 309,000 cars, more than ever in this country.
There's so much action going on in the luxury segment right now. Cadillac is slowly clawing its way back. Audi is continuing to grow in this market. Ford's talking about maybe someday really making Lincoln a competitor. What's that going to do? Will it grow the segment, or is it just going to slice it up more finely?
It seems to that it's growing the segment more than slicing it up. We see, at least for the last 3 years, we've seen a constant growth in the premium segment, and there's new product coming, so it's more like induced by the new competitors that are coming in. Well, it's always good to have competition.
Speaking of new product, you've got a 2 Series here, replacing the 1 Series. Explain some of the thinking behind coming out with this car.
Well, I mean, that's really the ultimate driving machine. It's very elegant, very dynamic looking car with a long hood, short overhangs, a setback cabin. That's what a BMW should all be about. And the driving is so dynamic. It's so much fun to drive. I think our fans will love the car, and I think it will also attract new customers into the car because it's exactly at the right price point. It's a bit more than $30,000 as a 228i, and we have the M235i, which is the top of the line. It's, as I said, the true ultimate driving machine.
Very interesting to see both Mercedes and BMW coming out with cars in the $30,000 range. Explain why you need to really broaden the line down at that end of the market.
Well, we've always had cars in that range. Others have actually gone below the 30,000 mark. You see, right now we have the X1, we have the 2 Series, and we have the 320i. Just depends on what you're looking for. You have a BMW in that range, and obviously it's a huge success. At least the X1 and the 320i are so far, and we're actually conquesting a lot of new customers. Just imagine 75% of all those customers are new to the brand. So we did the right thing, and I'm sure the 2 Series will do its job too.
What else do you have here at the Detroit show that's debuting?
Well, you could say we're still in the phase of introducing the new X5, which is made in the United States, and the United States is also the biggest customer for that car. So that car is here. We have the final production version of the i8, so you could say the supercar of the future, plug-in hybrid, 4.4 seconds from 0 to 100, fully carbon fiber body, and yet 82 miles to the gallon. And I mean, just striking looks. Just one of your colleagues said the other day, it shouldn't be the design of the year, it should be the design of the decade.
It's a very dramatic car, the i8 is. What's your outlook for the electric cars, both the i3 and the i8? There's a lot of interest on the part of the public, but the sales quite haven't been there for the segment overall.
Well, again, I think it's induced by the actual offer that is in the marketplace. I'm very positive, very optimistic as far as electromobility is concerned in this country. Still, you have to see, this year will be about 16 million cars altogether, so in percentage it will be a fairly small part, but I'm sure we'll be able to sell every i3, which is our electric car, that we can get our hands on in this country. So I'm very optimistic as far as our i3 is concerned. Just think at the Consumer Electronics Show just last week, we had almost 3,000 test drives with i3s, and that was just in 3 days' time.
What are your dealers telling you about people who are coming into their stores and asking about the car?
A lot of customers we haven't met before, so we are attracting new customers, but the dealers are very excited because they first may have been a bit skeptical about electromobility, but once they drove an i3, they were blown away because it's a true BMW. It's the BMW among the electric cars, and it's so much fun to drive.
So when will we see the i3 in dealerships in the U.S. market?
April time, yes.
And the i8?
A couple of months later, let's say this summer.
So a lot of excitement in terms of electrification at BMW.
Yeah. But also a lot of fun with these cars. I can guarantee you everybody will have a big smile on his face once driven the car.
I can't wait to get into it. I've driven the i3. I was knocked out.
See?
It exceeded my expectations. I can't wait to get into the i8 now.
Well, it's at least as exciting, and the way you sit in the car, the way the car looks, I mean, it's just a very special car.
Ludwig Willisch from BMW North America, thank you so much for your time today.
John, thank you.
Welcome back live from the floor of the North American International Auto Show, where I'm joined right now with Doug Scott, the Truck Group Marketing Manager, and it's great to have you on the show with us.
John,
here.
It's great to be here.
You know, of course, the big buzz at this show is the all-new F-150.
Right.
What blows me away more than anything else about it, though, Doug, is you guys were able to keep this under wraps. I didn't see anything start to leak out until last night, actually.
Yeah, it hasn't been easy, John. It's been a difficult assignment for those of us that have been working on it, not to talk about it, and then obviously not to let the cat out of the bag, so to speak. So.
And I love the fact that you saved the surprise for the show.
Right.
You know, sometimes automakers tell us everything about what they've got coming at the show, and we get there and it's like, oh, so what? We go on to look at something else. So kudos to you guys for having done it.
That was part of the grand plan.
Tell us a little bit about the truck. I mean, we know some of the things about it, but what are the highlights that you would like to communicate about?
I think first and foremost, John, we really think that this is a new standard in full-size pickups. It's going to be the smartest, the toughest, the most capable, and most fuel-efficient F-150 ever. The big news, of course, is lightweighting. Lightweighting both the frame and the top hat. So we're implementing higher use of high-strength steel in the frame that will drive 70 pounds of weight save. And then the real big news is high-strength aluminum alloy in the body. So the front end, the cab, the box, the whole thing, high-strength aluminum alloy that gets us another 500 pounds of weight save. And then you add in some weight save from the powertrains and other components, you get up to 700 pounds of weight save.
That's unbelievable. And you're doing some very clever things from an aerodynamic standpoint, active aero.
Absolutely. Lowered the front air dam, the whole look.
It lowers electrically?
No, it's just actually lowered, position lower, so it's not a movable air dam, but it's position lower, and that combined with the lines has a very chiseled appearance, which not only brings home the Atlas cues that, Atlas was so popular a year ago.
The concept truck, right?
Yeah, the concept truck. But then the real sharp lines, the chiseled lines, really allow the air to detach from the body. And then we've implemented a wider spoiler or cap on the tailgate, which again really aids aero. So it'll also be the most aerodynamic F-150 that we've ever built.
I've heard that Ford's shooting for a 30 mile per gallon highway number on the base truck. Can you give us any indication of where it might come in?
Well, more to come on fuel economy and capabilities, but suffice it to say it'll be the most fuel-efficient F-150 ever. And, John, one of the really important things is we're taking that weight save and we're reinvesting that weight save in other areas that are really important to truckers. So more towing, more hauling, those are really important in addition to the better fuel economy.
You're the marketing manager. I've got to believe that one of the challenges is convincing the public that aluminum is just as tough as steel. How are you going to do that?
Well, it might surprise you that it's not going to be as big a challenge as you would think. We've done a lot of work on this. Again, we pride ourselves on knowing our customer better than anybody else. And in talking to our customers, a lot of them encounter aluminum in their day-to-day activities, whether that's toolboxes or ladder racks or dump bodies on heavy-duty trucks or box trucks. And so they understand aluminum to have the value of high strength as well as lightweight. So it'll be, we certainly are not going to ignore it, but probably not as big a task as many would think.
Now, you've heard the old saying, how do you keep them on the farm after they've seen Paris? How do you keep selling the old truck until the new one's in there?
Well, we're fortunate that we've been very successful. We continue to be very successful with the current truck. Our volume was up 18% last year, our best market share since 1998. So really, we've got a lot of momentum in the market. The current truck is, best in class in many dimensions. So we've been down this path before. So we know how to manage the changeover from the old to the new, and I'm sure we'll be able to do that again.
Will you be able to maintain the same level of production, or is there going to be a dip here as you convert from one to the other?
Well, we'll transition Dearborn assembly first in the fourth quarter, and then Kansas City in the first quarter of next year. So Kansas City will continue to build the current truck while Dearborn's changing over. So again, we're going to be as competitive, and we have every intention of making 2014 the 38th consecutive year as the best-selling truck in America.
As you know, aluminum costs more than steel. There's going to be some amount of cost that's going into this truck. How do you deal with that? That, yes, it's a more capable truck, more fuel efficient, but by the way, you got to pay more for it.
A couple of ways. First of all, aluminum, as you know, is infinitely recyclable, and the value of aluminum as scrap is much higher. So we've spent a lot of time really on the material utilization front, and we'll have closed loop recycling, so we're going to be able to take that scrap and again just utilize a higher percentage of the material, so that's going to help on the cost front. Plus we're going to realize cost savings in some other places because of that lightweighting. So again, at the end of the day, we're a Ford. We have to be affordable. We have to be high value. We cover a wide price range, as you know, from the mid-20s up to the mid-50s, and we're going to cover that same price range with the new truck.
It's been so impressive to see how strong the pickup full-size pickup segment has been. What's your outlook for 2014?
Even rosier. I mean, it's interesting that in 2009, the full-size pickup segment was as low as 1.1 million units, and it came in over 1.9 million for 2013. And the outlook, not only ours, but the third parties out there, is for an even more robust full-size pickup segment, because the outlook for housing is so favorable, and housing is so closely connected to full-size pickup sales.
Both for the contractors that build these homes and for the people who move in have got to move all their stuff there, right?
Absolutely. You're exactly right.
Well, Doug, I can't wait to see how this truck does in the marketplace. Even more than that, I can't wait to drive it myself.
Well, that's really the most interesting part of the whole transition. Is you take 700 pounds of weight out of a vehicle, it does tremendous things for acceleration, for braking, for vehicle dynamics. So we're really excited to share that with everybody.
Thanks for your time to come on Autoline Live here and tell us all about it.
Thank you, John.
Very good. And we're going to be back right after this.
To perfect every detail. Work with a perfectionist who sweats every detail. If you want to refine a luxury car you're proud to put your name on, work with a guy whose name is his reputation. The 300C John Varvatos Limited Edition. Great things are worth the wait. Limited run of 2000 in dealerships now.
I know.
The all-new Fiat 500L. More room, more possibilities.
Hello, I'm local TV legend Ron Burgundy. This Dodge Durango gets 25 miles per the gallon highway. You're probably thinking, Ron, gas is 43 cents a gallon. Who cares? I have to be honest, I don't know. I mean, if the whole Middle East dries up, then maybe we're at 50 cents. But by then we'll find gas on the moon. We'll be driving around with moon gas. Now that's science. That stuff's gonna be cheap.
Welcome back live from the 2014 North American International Auto Show in Detroit. We're waiting for our next guest to arrive here. I thought I'd bring you up to speed with some of my observations of what I've seen here on the floor of the show today. And it started off with the North American Car and Truck of the Year Awards. What a madhouse. The place was mobbed, packed. I'm sure you've heard the news already. Chevrolet swept the awards. I believe this is the first time one brand has taken both Car and Truck of the Year awards. And of course, that was with the new Corvette Stingray and the Chevy Silverado full-size pickup. And boy, you should have seen it. Mary Barra, the new CEO of GM, was down there. She was mobbed by the media. One of my colleagues showed me a picture of her bodyguard with his arm around her, pushing her through the media as if he was a linebacker running in front of her, running interference for it. And photographers were going over like stacks of dominoes falling off the riser in the stage. It was absolutely crazy and out of control. Then Ford pulls the wraps off the new F-150. And, you know, we've just heard all about that as well. But again, total madhouse mayhem, because Ford did such a great job of keeping so much secret about the truck until right now. Of course, some of it leaked out yesterday, but for all practical purposes, most of the media had not seen or learned a whole lot about this truck until today. Let's see, what else have I seen? The new Mercedes C-Class. Kind of looks like a baby S-Class. They're doing some interesting things with that. Toyota's got a new car, the FT1. It's a concept. At first I thought it might be built off the FRS, but no, they tell me this total ground up concept. Don't know if they're actually going to build it or not. In fact, the designers told me they didn't know if it was going to be front drive or rear drive. That's how much of a concept car this thing is. But I believe it came out of the Kelty Design Studio in California. And so Toyota's starting to do some really dramatic and exciting things with styling. Chrysler, of course, pulled the wraps off the Chrysler 200 here. Another big mob scene as far as that was concerned. And it's just interesting to see so many people from all over the world really trying to get in and see what's all new in the Detroit show. The buzz here on the floor is pretty good. 2013, of course, was a good year for the North American industry. All the car companies, all the suppliers are making money, and you can see it here. You know, 2 years ago, certainly, even a year ago, I could look throughout Cobo Center to figure out where an automaker had its display, whether it was Mini or Mazda or Kia or whoever it is. You just had to look around the hall and you could see the big signs where they were. Now, there's 2-story displays. They're gigantic. There's everywhere. You can't see anywhere throughout this hall. That's how big the displays have become. And again, that's a reflection of everybody's budgets being flush again. They're really spending money on it. And we're going to get going here in just a moment with my next guest who has arrived here. But I got to tell you, it's a lot of fun being down here on the floor of the show, running into so many friends, so many colleagues, so many people that I know. And I think we'll bring them in right now. Tim, come on in here.
Hey, John. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year. Good seeing you.
Nice to see you. Try to get here without tripping.
I know. That's right. So, everybody, we've got Tim Mahoney, the head of Global Chevrolet.
Yes.
And, wow, big responsibility to take on, Global Chevrolet.
But what a great way to start the year, right?
Oh, my gosh. The North American Car and Truck of the Year Award. It's unbelievable.
A sweep. It's really, really a wonderful start.
What's that do for a brand? I mean, I'm on the jury, you know,
Sure.
I'm biased, but
Sure.
I mean, as an automaker, what's it mean to win those awards?
I think it's validation that we're bringing really special products to market that are recognized among the journalist community, and it is a stamp, if you will, of approval for people that are in the market to really know what's good out there. And so and we were up against some really strong competition.
Very strong competition.
Absolutely.
So I got to believe you got some ads coming or out already.
Out already. You know, we're a little bit like the Super Bowl teams. We made up the hats in case we won, but you know, but you have to be prepared,
all the
right?
finalists do that.
Everybody
does that.
You have to be prepared, right?
Does that give you a bump in sales? I mean, or does it certainly creates awareness?
Yeah, I think it definitely feeds the momentum that we have. Both of the products have been incredibly well received. Both of them won a lot of awards already. This one is really special, and you know, it's a reflection, I think, of the team, the engineering team, the design team, the leadership that really is finding new roads with the Chevrolet brand.
And this isn't the end of it. I mean, you've got a lot more coming this year, right?
Know. Yeah, absolutely.
You've got the refreshed Malibu that's out there right now,
right? And Colorado will come later in the year. So, you know, we're going to round out our 3-truck strategy. We're in the process very soon of launching heavy duty and the high country, which is the first time we've had a real top end on the Silverado range. But then the Colorado is also a nice addition to it.
Gutsy move for General Motors to come out with that truck,
right? But if you're saying find new roads, you've got to do things differently.
You do. And then what? Suburban and Tahoe coming too,
Suburban and Tahoe.
Right?
I had the chance. I'm still in the process of moving to Detroit, and I drove back to Philadelphia over the break in the new Tahoe. Made it back through the blizzard of January 2nd on the Ohio Turnpike. So really a solid vehicle and really very comfortable to drive.
You must feel very good about where Chevrolet's headed for this year then.
I do. I mean, we have a lot of great brand momentum coming into it. One of the things that we're benchmarking against is the Interbrand study, and so the brand moved really from off the grid into the top 100 in the 89th position, and there's a lot of desire to continue to push in that direction. But a lot of good things happening for the brand right now.
You are the head of global Chevrolet, though, so you're looking at this brand from a global standpoint,
Absolutely.
right?
I mean, we sold just under 5 million, or right at 5 million units this past year. The numbers are still kind of rolling in, but it's a car Chevrolet sold around the world every 6.2 seconds. So it's like the old McDonald's, right? You know how many billions sold, but it's a great time to be with it, and the brand is growing quickly, really quickly.
A couple of years ago, General Motors said, okay, our core brands are going to be Chevrolet and Cadillac, but you pulled out of Europe. Is that going to hurt that effort of taking Chevrolet as a global brand?
You know, I would say we're still in about 142 countries around the world.
That's a lot of countries.
It's a lot of countries. We, at 5 million units, we're the 4th largest brand in the world. We still will have Corvette and Camaro in Europe. So I would say we're still pretty global.
Where are you focusing your attention the most now? I mean, you got to be on a steep learning curve as far as the global part goes.
It is, and you know, I think one of the anniversaries that we're coming up with, the one today is 1 year ago that we unveiled the Stingray. In about a month will be 1 year since we launched Find New Roads, and so making Find New Roads as a brand platform and a tagline, but more a platform for the brand, relevant around the world is one of the big challenges, because that will then start to unite it as more of a global brand.
Marketing-wise, advertising-wise, what are some of your thoughts now that you're running the whole shebang here?
So we have a lot of high-profile media properties that are going to start to come out in the next couple of weeks. We're in a lot of these playoff games leading up to the Super Bowl. We're in the Grammys. We're in the Super Bowl itself, and then a big play within in the Olympics itself at Sochi, and then we're in the Academy Awards. So you know we're a big brand, and we're trying to do big things and do them with a sort of authenticity and optimism that you've come to expect from Chevrolet.
Let's go back to trucks just for a moment, because they've been so hot in the U.S. market. Ford's gone aluminum intensive on its full size. You guys are doing mid-size trucks. How do you see the battle working out here?
I think at the end of the day, the consumer's going to decide, right? I think that's the beauty of the market dynamics. We feel confident in our strategy. We think having three trucks in the lineup from Colorado, Silverado, and then the HD derivatives gives the consumer that's a truck buyer a wide range to choose from, and Ford's going a different direction. So that makes it interesting having choice.
Boy, isn't it ever going to be interesting. And you're putting a diesel engine in the Colorado, and you've got the diesel in the Cruze. And what's the early read on the diesel sales of the Cruze?
The early read on the diesel sales are phenomenal. You know, it's 46 miles. It's the vehicle in the U.S. with the highest MPG outside of sort of a hybrid or alternative propulsion system. So it's a pretty special vehicle. Very quiet, very fun to drive, and it's something I know from my background with some of the other brands I've worked on. So I think it's a great addition to the portfolio and adds a lot of credibility to what we're doing.
Now, I know it was not available nationwide until late last year. And again, any indication of how the sales are going?
I think what you're seeing in the shopping dynamics is we're bumping up against some other brands that have had pretty much a monopoly in that space.
We should remind the viewers that Tim, at one point in his career, also worked at Volkswagen. So I think he'll not say the brand that I will.
Other brands. But when you look at the shopping behavior next to their other brands, we're the number one cross-shop vehicle. So we're getting the right message at the right place, and the product is good.
That's great. Tim Mahoney, thanks so much for stopping
John.
by.
Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
Nice to see you.
It's going to be fun watching you guys in 2014.
Excellent. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Earlier today, we caught up with the head of marketing for Mini USA, Tom Salkowsky. Let's go to that interview right now. Tom, tell us about the year that Mini had last year and what you're looking forward for in 2014.
Well, 2013 was a good year. Our sales were flat, just slightly up. And 2014, we're really excited about. We have a all-new Mini hardtop that's coming. So
all new in 7 years, you were saying before this interview started.
Yeah, it's all new Mini arrives in spring of 2014, so we're thrilled about that. And with it comes more fuel-efficient engines, a 3-cylinder and a 4-cylinder, with more performance. So our Mini Cooper engine will go from 0 to 60 from mid-9s to low 7s. while achieving MPGs of in the low 40s.
So substantially faster car, yet more fuel efficient.
Exactly. So you can have your cake and eat it too. So more performance, better efficiency, a little bit more space in the car, a lot more connectivity, and all of it is going to come in at a really attractive price. So we're thrilled about 2014.
7 years in the market. That's amazing that the old car held up so long.
Yeah, and what we were most proud of about the Mini hardtop was our sales. You know, it didn't have that normal steep decline that you might see in a longer life cycle of a product. So it really held very flat through year 5, year 6, and 7, you know, which is very steady, which is admirable. Just goes to the testament of, you know, people really have a lot of love for our Mini.
And you had some competition step in, you know, Fiat notably with the 500e and the 500L, and yet didn't seem to put too much of a dent in your sales.
Yeah, we did quite well. So it was 66.5 was our number, 520, and that was up from 66.123 in 2012, and that was up from the year prior. So it's been a steady growth in the Countryman, which is the 4-door Mini, the big Mini as we call it, with optional all-4 all-wheel drive, really did help the sales as well. So we have a lot of strength in the hardtop. We have that strength in Countryman. Those are our 2 big drivers. And then we have other models like the coupes and the roadsters and the convertibles and the clubmans that really kind of round out our portfolio. So it's a family of 7, and we're really excited.
You've got this new car coming. How are you going to get the word out about it? Because Mini's done some very clever things in the past, marketing-wise.
Yeah, and that's something that always thrills us about it. So we started when we premiered the car in Los Angeles in the middle of November. We started something called the Final Test Drive. So we started to communicate with our owners and said, how would you put the new hardtop through its final test, as if you were an engineer? So owners, we had over 14,000 submissions of people from all around the country said,
telling you how they would test drive a car.
Exactly. They said, I would take it to a track, or I would take it on my morning commute, or I would take it out with my family, whatever that might be. And what we're doing now is this online competition where we're choosing the top 10, and the Mini community has weighing in on it. And we'll choose those top 10, we'll film it, we'll document it, we'll put it up online, and then we'll choose one of those individuals, the winner. And that winner will actually get to customize UEFI, which is a very popular thing. A lot of our owners, you know, really personalize their car. They'll be able to do that, and we'll name that package after that owner, and we'll actually put it on miniusa.com. So that's never been done before.
So theoretically, which I'm not going to do, but if I were to win that contest, there would be a McElroy edition of the Mini?
Whatever you want to name it, we'll name it. We'll put it on our configurator.
And other people could buy it, too.
Consumers can then order it up and say, I want a McElroy. Make me a McElroy Mini. So we're going to do it.
So you've had 14,000 people submit ideas on how to do this.
Yeah, it's been wonderful.
When are you going to narrow that down?
We're doing that right now, actually, and we're going to start filming that in February, and then we'll make all of that kind of public for the final selection will be when the car arrives in March and April.
And then what? Use social media and a whole bunch of other ways of getting the word out?
It's been going online
because
right
Mini
now.
doesn't do television advertising, right?
We generally not. It's very surgical when we do go in.
Okay.
But
no Super Bowl ads coming.
There won't be any Super Bowl, but we will be back on television in Q1 and Q2 to get the word about the new Mini, which we're excited about. So, and we're going to continue that also throughout quarter 3 and quarter 4.
Now, having 14,000 people submit their ideas, I mean, there's something in it for them. What's been the reaction, though, I'm wondering, to the general car buying public with the new model?
It's been terrific, and a lot of it has been focused on the car is not a revolution. You know, if you look at the new hardtop from the outside, particularly from the profile, the front and the rear, you'll notice, if you're really focusing on the details, you'll notice the larger headlights, the LED rings on the front headlamps, but it's a very friendly, familiar face. So it's like greeting a friend, like you and I saw each other. It has been maybe a couple of months. It's a big smile. It's like that approach. So it's not a revolution, it's design. It's a beautiful, iconic design, and the interior has been those upgrades. The consumers that have been to the shows and have seen the car, and even the media have been, you know, really positive about an upgrade in quality and fit, finish, and materials and connectivity. A lot more driver assistance technology in the car that we've never offered before. So it's a really exciting time to be looking at Mini in this new hardtop.
And we'll see it in showrooms in the U.S. when?
In the spring.
In the spring.
Early April.
Oh, good. we'll have to keep an eye out for that one. Tom Salkowsky, thanks so much for taking the time to bring us up to speed with Mini.
Thanks for having me.
We're back live in the gigantic Chrysler display. And of course, Chrysler is our signature sponsor for this show. But right now, I've got to talk to Heiko Schmidt, who's the head of compact cars at Mercedes-Benz. Great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having us.
And of course, the reason that we want the guy in charge of compact cars is Mercedes has unveiled the new C-Class at the show.
Right.
Heiko, tell us a little bit about this. What's so different about the new C-Class?
Well, John, we are extremely excited about the new C-Class. It's the fifth generation. Overall, from when the C-Class was launched back in the 80s, we sold over 8.4 million vehicles. So it truly is our most important car when it comes to volume. Now, the new C-Class that we launched in fall of next year, actually of this year right now, is going to be the benchmark in its segment for a lot of things. We say it's actually an upgrade to a higher class of travel. Coming from the exterior design, showing the most recent design language for Mercedes-Benz with the dropping line, showing our designers are referring to the essential purity, so it's kind of minimalistic, but it's also very emotional. A state-of-the-art interior, very high quality, fantastic design. Then a bunch of innovations, talking about lightweight. It's going to be the lightweight leader in its segment. The car is going to be up to 220 pounds lighter than its predecessor, despite larger dimensions. We talk about Mercedes-Benz intelligent drive. So all the safety innovations that we launched in the S-Class not even a year ago will now be available in the C-Class. We have a new touchpad in the car, which is you can control all the head unit functions just like a smartphone intuitively. So there's a number of things that we're extremely proud of in the new C-Class.
Some people have said this is almost like a baby S-Class. It almost looks like you've taken the C-Class and moved it up, made it more prestigious.
Well, clearly you can see that Gardner has built the S-Class and has also designed the C-Class. So you see a common pattern there in terms of design language. But what we don't want to do is create just a scaled-down version of an S-Class. So you see a very own character for the new C-Class as well.
And as you mentioned, all the dimensions are bigger. So you've grown this car up. Is that because you now have the CLA and it allows you to do or have more flexibility with the C?
Certainly. The CLA is taking up the entry gate to the brand Mercedes-Benz. We're extremely successful in conquering new customers that so far we have not achieved with the brand Mercedes. 8 out of 10 CLA customers is new to the brand Mercedes. We have lowered our average age for the CLA customer by 10 years. So there is room for the C-Class to grow a little bit in terms of size, positioning, not necessarily price. We don't intend to make the C-Class tremendously more expensive.
It'll be about the same price as the car?
It'll be in the same ballpark. Exactly.
No kidding. Very interesting. So much more substantial car without charging a whole lot more money for it.
That's the idea behind it. So the car grows about 3.7 inches in length, 1.7 in width, and you can clearly feel that in the interior there's substantially more room for all passengers.
And when will we see it on sale in the U.S. market?
In fall of 2014. So we expect a retail and also launch in September of this year.
And you've got to be very excited about having this car come into the lineup. Mercedes, of course, grabbed in the U.S. the top sales spot for luxury cars. You must be counting on this car to make sure that it stays there.
Oh, absolutely. We think it's going to be a new chapter in the success story of the C-Class and in the success story of Mercedes-Benz, particularly in the U.S., where, as you mentioned it, John, we were the #1 luxury franchise last year. So we are extremely proud about that achievement. The new C-Class will just continue that success. It is, again, our most important car in terms of volume. So there's a very high expectation for the new C-Class, which for the U.S. market will be built in Tuscaloosa in the U.S. for the first time.
And talk about that. Why build a passenger car here? I mean, Mercedes and BMW, too, of course, have been building SUVs or crossovers. But why a passenger car?
If you look at the regional, or if you look at the main markets for the C-Class, the biggest market right now actually is the U.S. market. That's where we're selling
for the C-Class.
For the C-Class,
really?
Exactly.
I would have never thought that.
Yeah, no, it's been the biggest market for the past years. So I think the decision to produce a vehicle here in our own plant in Tuscaloosa obviously with all the German quality standards. We've been successfully producing the SUV lineup here for a while. And we're excited to now have the C-Class here as well. I think it makes perfect sense.
You know, let's go to the interior design, because one thing that I fixated on is you have those big round vents in the center console. It's kind of retro, but because they're so big and bold and centered, it's not retro at all. What's been the customer reaction or the public reaction to those?
Very, very positive. And the C-Class interior design is just another interpretation of vehicles we've had before that feature a similar round design for those air vents. We compare it a little bit to a cockpit design in an airplane. And yes, John, you're right. It's a little retro when you look at the R107, for instance, the Roadster SL back in the 80s. But it's obviously interpreted in a very modern way. And if you look at the overall interior of the C-Class, I think those round air vents integrate very nicely. You have that huge one-piece trim part, lots of free space, very few buttons. So it's a very puristic, very clean interior overall.
I cannot wait to drive this car. I'm intrigued by what you've done with it, and especially taking so much weight out of it. Heiko, thanks so much for your time today. Really appreciate you having on the show. Thanks very much. We're going to take a quick break right now. We're going to come back and talk about product planning at Audi.
To truck guys, the truck is everything. And when you put them in charge of making an unbeatable truck, good things happen. This is the Ram 1500, the 2014 Motor Trend Truck of the Year, and first ever back-to-back champion. Guts, glory, Ram.
We are IAC Group, a global Tier 1 supplier of vehicle interior solutions that span the rapid, ever-changing needs of today's industry, from interior design and engineering to manufacturing and delivery. IAC, our heritage, your advantage.
We're back here live at the floor of the North American International Auto Show in Detroit. Coming up soon, we're going to talk with Filip Brabec from Audi, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of a heads up on what we've got coming tomorrow and later this week. Tomorrow, we got Dave Salkowsky, the new head of Hyundai, the CEO there. We have Mike Manley, the CEO of the Jeep brand globally. We've got Peter Schreier, the president of Hyundai Kia, heading up design there. We've got the head of Global Cadillac, Bob Ferguson, and that's just some of the names. Wednesday and Thursday, as you may already know, we're going to be doing the second annual Autoline Supplier Symposium from our signature sponsor, Ford's display area. We've got some great panel discussions that have been put together by the Original Equipment Supplier Association, the Center for Automotive Research, and Inforum, just to name a few. And you can watch it all at Autoline TV. So be sure to check all that out. A lot coming here from the Detroit Auto Show. But right now, we've got my next guest, Filip Brabec, who's head of product planning at Audi of America.
Happy to be
great
here.
Having you here.
Thank you very much.
What do you make of the show so far?
Oh, I think it's an exciting show. It's I think a lot of energy in the industry overall. We just came back from CES, so this is almost like a second wave now for us.
And Audi had a big show at CES.
Yes, we did. We absolutely did. It was a very, very good show for us. Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about that, but first. Good. What do you have at the Detroit show? What are you really showing here?
So the big premiere is the Audi Q3. As you know, in LA, we launched the A3 family, the A3 sedan. And so for us, this is a big expansion into the A segment in America. And we're adding the Q3, all in 2014. So it's going to be a very big year for us.
Give us a little bit of some of the attributes of the new Q3.
The Q3 is a small compact crossover, which is slated just under the Q5. As you know, the Q5 has been a very big seller for us, about 10 inches shorter, and with that smaller package, of course, we are able to get to a little bit lower price, and I think in an overall growing SUV segment, it's going to be a big hit.
But you probably have not announced the pricing yet, or did you?
We have not yet announced pricing.
Okay.
That comes a little bit later. The car comes in the fall, so we still have a little bit of time.
And of course, the crossover segment has got to be the hottest segment right now.
It absolutely is huge. Both SUVs that we have, the Q7 and the Q5, over 40% growth just last year, John. So it's been absolutely incredible for us, and we feel it's just the perfect timing to add the Q3.
Can you talk about the different powertrains that you'll have available?
Very simple. 2-liter TFSI, 200 horsepower in front and a Quattro variant. Just like that. So very simple.
Right. And so the Q3 is the big news at this show. You have the A3 that's now going to fill out the showrooms soon, right? It's not on sale yet, or is it?
The A3 sedan comes in April.
Okay.
And then we start with 2 4-cylinder variants, and then we follow with the S3 in late summer, and we'll also add the A3 Cabriolet. So basically the whole family of A-segment products are going to be here within this calendar year.
And Q3, when will...
And Q3 as well. So Q3
when
August
will that
as
be
well.
in the showroom?
As well in August. So
no kidding.
Basically, big busy year for us, definitely.
Anything beyond that? Have we missed something?
Yeah, the other thing that we have here at the show is the product improvement of the A8. So basically a product freshening, a lot of changes as far as the design. Basically all new front end, all new rear end. We extended the trunk package a little bit. There's about 1 more cubic foot of space. And also some refinements inside. New technology. We have head-up display now in the car. Added some to the driver assistance system. So a lot of new technology.
Okay, head-up display, driver assistance systems. Now we're starting to talk electronics. Let's
That's
talk
right.
a little bit about where you were last week.
Absolutely.
Because one of the things that Audi showed was a completely reconfigurable and purely electronic instrument panel.
Exactly right. And I hope that people were really able to notice just how crisp and perfect that display was in terms of not only design but execution. We've partnered with NVIDIA for many years now. We were actually the first automotive partner with NVIDIA together, and we've pioneered this through and through. And now we are really able to see the fruits of that cooperation. The speed of the graphics that we have, the resolution, as well as the contrast. The contrast is really important so that you can see it in multiple lighting scenarios that are out there. But it's sort of the next generation thing for us. We've showed it in the cockpit of the new Audi TT. So it's something that you're going to see in the next generation of sports cars for us.
And in fact, speaking of NVIDIA, because I've talked to the audience about this, but we've all heard of CPUs, central processing units. As you know, they make GPUs,
exactly right.
graphic processors.
Perfect.
And they're at the bleeding edge of developing that chip technology.
Yes, I mean, just to give you an example, what we have launched in the A3 sedan is a chipset that is now available throughout the tablet industry. And so it's no longer you have to wait 5, 7, 8 years until the cutting-edge consumer technology makes it into the car. And that's what we have announced last year with the new modular infotainment platform that we have in the A3. And that's now already available in the production car.
And you said a key word there, modular.
Yes.
So as the new things come in, you can just snap
That's
them
exactly
into place.
right. What it basically is that the tough automotive hardware is staying the same, but we are able to have this multimedia extension, which is a module on top. We can take that out, plug in a new one with much more powerful graphics, and off we go.
There's so much talk about autonomous driving or driver assist, as you said.
Yes.
What else came out of CES that you really had your eye on?
So 2 things. We have obviously taken to a new level the piloted driving in a kind of a traffic assist scenario in which the car is basically able to follow in a kind of a traffic situation. We also showed the parking demos again. We think the parking really has a great real-life application. And it's something that we really see as a good next step. So a lot of these technologies are really coming together. And one of the things that was really, I think, telling for us was that a year ago we showed at the CES this autonomous driving, and it was an A6 Avant, which when you open the trunk, it was loaded with electronics. Yeah. And this year we do the same thing with an electronic unit which is thinner than an iPad. So really it is coming. We are able to get a lot of synergies there in that hardware.
I keep telling everybody this autonomous technology is going to come far faster than anyone imagined.
That's probably true, and I think we have to do a lot with people like you on the public discussion side, because I think we really have to hash out a lot of the legal issues as well, so that we can start talk about real application for this exciting technology.
Yeah. I can't wait to see it all happen.
Excellent.
Filip, thanks so much for stopping by. Very interesting what Audi's doing at the show.
Pleasure to be here.
Best of luck to you. You're going to have an awesome year, I think.
Always a pleasure, John. Thank you.
Thanks very much. And let's see. We'll be back in just a minute to wrap things up.
came into this world, you tumbled in head first. All arms and legs, looking everywhere, moving everywhere. You went where your eyes and ears took you. And little by little, you became you. You found tools to satisfy your curiosity because you wanted to see more and do more. And there was something to be found in everything. And little by little it changed. People told you things, where to go, what to do, what not to do. Little by little the world started to feel smaller. Only it isn't. You're still here, and you're still you. The horizons haven't gone anywhere, and the tools you need are right here. So you can throw yourself at the world head first. Again. Introducing the all-new Jeep Cherokee.
Well, we're back live here from the floor of the North American International Auto Show at Cobo Center in Detroit. I hope you enjoyed today's show. We're wrapping things up here. Boy, we got through a whole lot of interviews, learned a whole lot of interesting things. But guess what? This was just day one. Come on back tomorrow. We're going to do this all over again with a whole new slew of executives to talk about the latest technology, the latest developments, not just with technology and product, but also with the people. So remember, 1 p.m. tomorrow, right here, Autoline.tv, or if you're watching on Autoblog or Ward's Auto, thank you for watching, and I'm John McElroy, wrapping it up for day one at the 2014 NAIAS.
Autoline Live from the North American International Auto Show is brought to you by our signature sponsors, Chrysler, Dodge, Fiat, Jeep, Mopar, Ram, and SRT, and also by Audi, Truth in Engineering, and IAC Group. Inspiration comes from within.